Hey everybody, it's Actual Dragon Tears, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make a real barricade out of wood and straps and nuts and bolts and all that, compared to my old one, which was just paper, poster board and ribbon. Anyway, let's get into the supplies you'll be needing. Please forgive, this was filmed 5 months ago. It's actually on a completely different phone in a completely different house. So it's going to be a bit of a decrease in quality, but don't worry, it jumps back to this quality about halfway through. So let's get into it. The first thing you're going to need is obviously some wood. I actually got this for free at Home Depot. A lot of times if you go there, especially later in the day, they have a lot of free scrap wood that they'll gladly cut up for you. Most of the time it ends up in the trash anyway, so they're happy to get rid of it. Next, you're going to need some of these yellow ratchet straps. Once again, got these from Home Depot. They were about $8. It's honestly the perfect color, and one pack should be enough for both sides of the wood. To secure the straps onto the wood, you're going to need bolts as well as nuts and washers. Due to the thickness of the wood, I went with 1-inch bolts. I tried going for 3/4 and it was actually too short. So depending on which width of the wood you get or which thickness you get, it's going to depend. You don't need to do this, but because I feel like my wood isn't dark enough, I am going to be staining it. Obviously for this you're going to need some kind of stain and also rags to apply the stain. Like I said, this is completely optional, but I feel that since the barricade in the game is actually pretty dark wood, it will end up looking a lot more accurate if I do stain it. And finally, you're going to need yellow spray paint for the X in the middle. So the first and, like I said, optional step that I'm going to do is I'm going to get these boards all stained, and then I will see you when that's done. Okay, so yeah, as you can see here, the wood is stained, but more than that, I'm in a entirely different garage. Yes, in between the last part and this part, I moved. It's actually been 3 months. So let's get back into this if I can. It's definitely been a large gap in between. But the next step, I need to cut this into 3 equal parts. Ideally, I would have had this done at the Home Depot, but unfortunately they have a limit to the shortness that they can cut, and I, didn't want to make it hard on the lumber guys I work with. So anyway, I'm going to cut those into 3 strips, and I'll meet you in the next. Alright, got them cut into strips. It was a pain in the ass because I had to use a circular saw because I have a miter saw. I don't have a table saw. So I had to basically just prop them up on this makeshift sawhorse and just zip, which unfortunately led to a bit of uneven cuts. You can see some boards are a little bit wider and some are a little bit shorter, but I mean, in the end, it kind of makes sense. You'd expect a terrorist organization like the White Masks to just kind of hastily chop stuff up and whatnot to protect themselves, so it makes it more realistic. But the size it's at now, they're really long, which might work great for windows, but since I'm making it for a doorway, I need to actually chop off a little bit up from the top there. I measured my doorways, and I got 35 inches as a good average cut, which should fit them all, more or less. Your doorways might be differently. I know the doorways at my old house were a lot wider because it was handicap accessible, even though they were up, you had to go up 2 flights of stairs to get to it. But anyway, yeah, so if you are planning on making this, measure your own doorways, find a length that works for you, and go ahead and chop that. So let me get that done, and then I'll get back to you guys then. Alright, got them all cut to 35 inches. That's all the excess right there. The next step is going to be lining them with the yellow ratchet strap, and then drilling holes to eventually be bolted on. So I got the strips, I got it all lined up, and I got the straps on it as well, and you can see it's really starting to shape up to look like the barricade. But that, like I said, I'm going to drill a hole in each plank, and I'm gonna get a nut, a bolt, and a washer and just secure it on every plank. After that, just spray it and I should be done. All right, it is now the next day, and as you can see, something went wrong. As I started attaching the bolts to the Barricade, I noticed that instead of being nice and flush, the planks began being all jumbled up, and it didn't look good, and it was a little infuriating, to say the least, to figure out that the last hour or so work of you just excruciatingly tightening down each nut and bolt all the way down on both sides, only to find out, yeah, you gotta undo all of it. I kind of took a break for tonight. But it's the next day, and I'm gonna try and redo it. What I think I did wrong was I think it was a combination of I was over tightening the bolts, which in turn was kind of like twisting the bands, which were making them tighter, which in turn made it so it couldn't lay flush. And I also think I made the gaps between the holes in the strap itself a little bit too short, in which case it made boards overlap and increase the problem. So I'm going to try and take another attempt at it, and hopefully this one works well. Well, would you look at that? It is completely done. It's all been bolted in, and yeah, it can be, you know, lifted up and rolled up just like the one in the game. And the best of all, it's flush, which it was not flush at all before. So yeah, there is really only one thing left to do, and that is add the X, in which case I feel like I should do that on camera as a bit of a signing off. So there we go. And oh man, it feels good to get that done after 4 months of on and off working on it. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed, and hopefully you guys make a Barricade of your own that you like. Oh, actually, one last thing. I wanted to compare the new one to my old one and just show how much of a vast improvement there was between the two. The older one is actually almost entirely made of dollar store product. It's a dollar store poster board, dollar store like ribbon I found. The only thing that wasn't from the dollar store obviously was the hot glue and the spray paint. That was it. This one, on the other hand, was not the dollar store. In fact, I think the ribbons or the straps alone cost more than that entirely. So it's nice. You can see that the immediate jump in quality when the budgeting improved. So now I want to say thank you guys for watching, and I hope you all enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.